Hi, my name's Dan. What is musicology? It's not just an album by Prince. Musicology. It's something people do. And in this video on this channel, we're going to talk about it. Look in my eyes, what do you see? A cult of musicology. So musicology is something people do. Me, for instance, I teach in a British university and I research and publish texts that are musicological. I'm not a performer or a composer, though there are lots of musicologists who do one or both of those things as part of their work. Some people tend to think that musicology is the preserve of people who work in ivory towers and who wear patches on their elbows. I'm not wearing elbow patches, you're wearing elbow patches. But that's not true. Lots of people are musicologists and do musicology, and lots of them aren't associated with universities or towers of any sort. I do teach and research music history, but I also teach and research music theory and analysis. We're going to talk about how different subjects still come under the umbrella of musicology. But what is it? How do we reach a definition of what musicology actually is? In a very simple sense, I'd suggest the definition that it's the scholarly study of music. One friend immediately suggested we might expand that to thinking about music, its contexts, and its cultures in a scholarly way. But that's still slightly reductive. How do we define scholarly here? Another one, this time from Richard Taruskin, somebody I suppose we're going to hear a lot from. And I paraphrase, he said, it's not just the study of what music means, but also what has it meant. Though perhaps that definition really applies to music history rather than some of the other areas of musicology. A final one from Professor Peter Tregear, paraphrasing from Professor George W.L. Marshall Hall, a respected musicologist, founder of the Melbourne Conservatorium. And quote, he argued that musicians needed also to be able to understand their art form in its broader historical and cultural contexts. Music graduates should not just be performers, but also historians, analysers, critics, and explorers of the musical culture they inhabited. Historically, musicology is a young discipline, having started properly around the mid-19th century. For example, Friedrich Chrysander suggested it should be treated as a serious subject back in 1863. Thinking about music in a scholarly way, though, has existed long before that. Even the quadrivium of classical education included study of music as one of the 4 key subjects. Since according to ancient Greek philosophy, music was a crucial part of the natural world, for example, the harmony of the spheres. And so studying it aided understanding of the universe. We don't necessarily think that anymore, though I might argue that it does still aid understanding. The way that music is taught at a university can be different to a conservatoire, for instance. They include different priorities. Traditionally, conservatoire is where you study performance. That probably will include courses on music theory and music history. Might also include composition, music pedagogy, that is, teaching how we teach music. But musicology traditionally includes aspects of all of these things, along with the kinds of critical and interpretive skills encouraged in subjects like art history or literature. So it encourages a different type of critical thought. Okay, what sort of music is studied under musicology? Well, any. Yes, there's the traditional repertoire that we call classical music, but there's also anything in the charts, generously lumped together as popular music. And there's also music from non-Western cultures, also lumped together as ethnomusicology. Those who focus on the classical traditions are sometimes called historical musicologists. There's also systematic musicology, a broad term covering things like aesthetics, music and critical race theories, music and gender, etc. Research and teaching that focuses more on these, and then especially the content of music, the notes or how it works in scores is often understood as being music analysis or music theory in the US. In the UK and Europe, it's common for scholars to work in both fields of historical musicology and music analysis across their work. In the US, it tends to be a little bit more separated. That is roughly the situation, what musicology is. If I was going to offer my own definition of musicology, it would very simply be thinking about music in a critical way. Whether that be music making, composing, the history of music, music production, music reception, etc. On this channel, I'm going to offer a few snippets from the world of musicology. There are other YouTube channels that do this, of course, but they're often instructional, or they're based on promoting particular universities or orchestras. I don't want to do that. I'd rather aim this at an audience who are maybe interested in thinking about music in a critical way, interested in finding out about what musicology might say about particular aspects of music, and especially people who are thinking about going into further education for music. You're thinking about college or university. I don't want this channel to teach you, but I do want it to get you interested and encourage you to seek out more listening, more reading, more watching, maybe even enroll on that course. This is designed to be, hopefully, fun and also collaborative. I want to celebrate as much music as possible here. This channel isn't here to police repertoire or listening choices, but rather seek to expand our horizons in not only listening, but thinking about music as well. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.